Okay, so I'm not nearly as animated as everyone else, but I don't miss opportunities very often. Generally, if something comes my way, I grab it. That's all there is to it. I've traveled the country. I've seen things most people my age haven't. Got my first speeding ticket in Texas, if that tells you anything, from a good old boy. But a few years back, I had an opportunity to do something that would have meant the world to me in hindsight. But as they say, hindsight's 2020. I was living in New York and was going down to Maryland for a Sweet 16 party. Maryland is a big deal to me. It's my home away from home. As much as I've traveled, there's been one place my entire life I've always gone back to, and that was my grandparents' house. Even though things change, step parents, divorce, remarriage, everything like that, my grandparents have always been my rock. And as I aged, I didn't think about my grandmother aging. She's always been the one I've always talked to. She's the one I would call, I'm just cleaning my room. What are you doing, Nan? How has your day been? And I'd hear her laundry list of problems, and I wouldn't really think much about it. Well, my sister's Sweet 16 birthday party, I was able to finally go back home to Maryland. And I saw this beautiful woman I had seen my whole life. I gave her this amazing hug, the hug where you are just bonding again. The same sense, the same soft face, everything. And it was different this time. She was more subdued, a little more quiet, not her usual peppery self that I'd always seen. And as it would be, I was able to sit down with her while she was having a meal. And very quietly, she said, Pat, I go by Trish or Patty. She's the only one who's ever called me Pat. She said, Nanny would really love for you to stay and help Pop. We could really use this right now. And all I could think at the time was, well, I've got this life up in New York. I've got my pets and my boyfriend and my job and, all of these things that were holding me from being with this woman that gave me so much of her time and so much of her love. And so I decided, I can't miss out on this. I got to keep my job. I got to make that money. I got to do what I can do. Adult for a little while as it was. Well, I left. And in hindsight, it was one of the worst things I could do because the next time I ever got to see her was the time that she had gotten into hospice care, which in Maryland, that's a huge thing. It's like bigger than the hospitals around here. You go in and it's quiet. There are people that come from room to room and play guitars and stuff, but I know she could hear me, but it wasn't the same. I wasn't being greeted at the door with that hug, any of that kind of stuff. And my opportunity would have been to spend the last years of her life helping her transition to the next. And I didn't take it. I came back to New York for my failed relationship, the pets I no longer have, the job I no longer have, and now the grandmother I no longer have. So if it comes to you, take that opportunity, whatever it is.